Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Yacono. Amanda Hill has the day off. We'll get to all those stories in just a moment. First, though, we have a little bit of snow falling for parts of southern Maine. Keith Carson has our first look at the forecast. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, it kind of depends where you are. There's been some areas along the coast reporting snow. Others are not, even though their radar is showing you snow. Portland being one of those spots where it looks like there's snow on the radar, nothing yet hitting the ground. Over to the west towards Parsonsfield, temperatures are cooler. There's less precipitation there. Down east Maine, it's starting to fill in a little bit more, and this is the spot over down east that we're most confident about getting accumulating snow tonight, as it just kind of the way the curvature of the coast is. This storm system, which is largely missing us here out over the ocean, does have some pretty heavy returns, and it'll just clip down East Maine later tonight while the rest of us are on the northwest edge of generally light precipitation. Pretty late in the game, National Weather Service edition here, where we have a winter storm warning just over coastal Washington County, and then we've got a winter weather advisory in the shaded purple area that goes down to Bar Harbor, and that's the lesser of the two, but this is the spot that's most likely to get the most accumulating snow tonight. So periods of snow off and on along the coastline. Because it's so cold, it's really quite efficient once it hits the ground, so it's going to be able to coat surfaces, including the roadways, pretty easily once it's snowing, and that becomes an issue into down East Maine later tonight. Now the good news is later tonight into early tomorrow morning, so it's not going to happen when a whole lot of people are out and about, but it will be snowing at a reasonable clip, it looks like, over far eastern Maine late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Then we get this thing out of here and we're into a cold, cloudy, windy day with snow showers on Saturday. Temperatures in the 20s here. It'll be colder for the second half of the weekend, Brian. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Certainly is. Keith, we'll see you then. Thank you. Topping in your news tonight, we have a developing story out of the town of Sydney right now, where state police have been at a home on Summerhaven Road for most of the day. We've now learned they are investigating the killing of a teenager there. A woman is in custody right now. News Center Maine's Caroline LaCour is in Sydney tonight with more. Caroline.
Brian, state police say early this morning, the Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office got a call from a woman saying that something had happened at her home here on Summerhaven Road. Now, when police got here, they found the body of a 14-year-old boy outside of the home. Then, just before 2 o'clock this afternoon, Megan McDonald was taken into custody. She is being charged with the boy's murder. The state medical examiner determined that the boy's cause of death was a combination of asphyxiation, manual strangulation, and sharp force injury. Now, the identity of the boy is being withheld at this time. State police aren't offering any further details beyond that. However, we do know earlier this morning, actually, members of the Messalonskee High School community got an email from the superintendent of schools saying that support services are being offered due to the death of a student. Now, we still can't officially confirm if these two incidents are related. However, folks here in Sydney do go to that school. The road here on Summerhaven Road is still open to traffic. Live in Sydney, Caroline LaCour, News Center, Maine.
Caroline, with the new developments in the last few minutes, thank you. A man accused of shooting and killing a Westbrook couple last year while they sat in their car was back in a courtroom today. Marcel LaGrange is looking to change who decides whether he is guilty of the crimes he's now charged with. News Center Maine's Alex Haskell was also in the courtroom today and has more.
All 12 people would have to be convinced by the state's proof.
Appearing over Zoom, Marcel LaGrange was back in Maine's Superior Court. He's accused of shooting Brittany Cockrell and Michael Hayter in trying to shoot their then 11-year-old son, but his gun jammed, giving officers who had just arrived time to tackle him to the ground. LaGrange is facing 6 charges, including 2 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated attempted murder.
Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
LaGrange and his lawyer asked Justice Deborah Cashmit to waive his right to a jury trial, meaning instead of a jury of 12 people deciding whether LaGrange is guilty, the decision will fall solely on Justice Cashman.
I'm not going to speak to Marcel's individual reasoning.
But LaGrange's defense attorney, Tina Nadeau, says there are many reasons why her client would want a bench trial. trial.
In particularly emotional or gruesome cases, sometimes the average person really can't process that and the emotions take over, and deciding a case based on reason might be really hard for the average person. I think judges have seen more and can usually be more objective.
It's likely to be an emotional trial, as this couple was randomly killed while sitting in their car, their 2 young kids seeing all of it. Not long after the shooting, News Center Maine spoke with Jeff McKinney. Brittany was his daughter.
You sleep sometimes, you wake up most of the time after a couple hours. It's as bad as you can imagine.
LaGrange's trial is set to begin February 24th. In Portland, Alex Haskell, News Center Maine.
The Attorney General's office has ruled now that Brewer's police chief acted in self-defense when he shot and killed someone back in March. Police confronted Barry Chick because they believed he was trying to steal something from Walmart. They say Chick took out a gun and ran off into the woods nearby. Brewer's police chief Jason Moffitt tracked him down, and when he confronted him, Chick reportedly reached for his gun again, and that's when the chief shot and killed him. Moffitt was placed on paid administrative leave after that incident happened. An explosion and a fire destroyed a home in Washington County yesterday morning, and we've learned a malfunction, while propane tanks were being filled is what led to that explosion and fire. Happened yesterday morning on Milford Road on Grand Lake Stream. Investigators say the fire started outside the house while a delivery driver from VL Tomorrow was filling the home's propane tanks. They say a malfunction during that filling process caused gas to leak, ignite, and trigger an explosion and the fire. The driver there suffered second-degree burns and was treated and released from the hospital. The homeowner was home at the time but was not hurt. No charges are being filed in that case. In the town of Charleston, vandalism to several headstones at Lord Cemetery last month has left that community heartbroken. Under Maine law, it is illegal to vandalize a cemetery. News Center Maine's Brianna Bush spoke with people in town who are looking for answers.
It just makes you angry and upset that somebody could even think of doing something like this.
When Charleston Cemetery sexton Linda Giroux first discovered that 2 headstones were damaged at Lord Cemetery, she was in shock.
As I'm walking out, I was like, that's not right.
That's when she immediately told other Charleston Cemetery sexton Karen McNaughton, who then discovered a total of 7 headstones were damaged and reported it to the police.
It broke my heart, kind of.
She says 3 headstones were knocked over and the other 4 were broken from its base.
All the work that we put into these cemeteries to fix the headstones and to keep it up, and somebody would just come in and literally break stones, knock them over.
For 4th-generation resident Cheryl Arnold, the incident just doesn't sit right.
It just shouldn't have happened.
Leaving her concerned that it could have happened at another cemetery in town where her loved ones are buried.
We're not a big town, and it's just, you don't go on to somebody's final resting place and do something stupid like this.
Community leaders are now coming together to find ways to repair the damage, saying it would cost thousands of dollars to fix the broken headstones, which can't be fixed until the spring.
People come to their loved ones. Who wants to, how's that going to make people feel if they come to put flowers on their graves and their headstones are on the ground?
The Maine State Police is actively investigating this incident of vandalism here at the cemetery. In Charleston, Brianna Bush, News Center, Maine.
And if you know anything about what happened there, you can contact the Maine State Police at their Bangor Barracks. Their number's on your screen. It is 973-3700. When we come back right here, an incredible rescue of a man lost overnight on a very cold and snowy mountain. Man from Portland got a lot more than he bargained for this week when he set off on a trek to see a sunrise from a mountaintop in New Hampshire. Ended up being rescued by chopper in very trying conditions. Patrick Bittman set out from his home in Portland for the mountains near Franconia Notch on Wednesday. His plan was to climb to the top of Little Haystack Mountain, but he didn't make it. He ran into deep and blowing snow. Bittman decided to turn around, but he couldn't find the trail back and ended up in a ravine. At 8:15 Thursday morning, unable to move his legs and hypothermic, he called for help. With temperatures in the 20s and 30-mile-an-hour wind, rescuers finally got to Bittman at around 1 p.m. But the weather at the time prevented a helicopter from airlifting him out. So, the team from New Hampshire Fish and Game and Pemmy Valley Search and Rescue deployed a shelter to get a now extremely hypothermic Bittman out of the wind. They gave him dry clothes and warm fluid, trying to get his body temperature up. Then, around 3 p.m., the clouds lifted long enough to get an Army National Guard helicopter in to lift Bittman out and get him to a hospital. A moment caught on video by someone clearly thrilled to see a successful rescue.
Woo! Yes!
And we reached out to the emergency department there at Littleton Regional Healthcare where Patrick Bittman was taken. We have not heard back on his condition tonight. Keith's forecast for your weekend and Christmas week is coming up right here after the break. And later, from lawyer to politician to restaurateur, how Waterville's Tom Nail is now adding cookbook author to his resume. And how that book is helping feed people in more ways than one.